Hey, everybody. It's Thursday.
It's Thursday, and it's April Fool's Day, so that's kind of a crazy thing.
Yeah, I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily, and welcome to the Night Bite.
Yeah. So I don't know. We heard that the Wisconsin Dells, the Sportsman's Expo, went over pretty well. There's a bunch of people that stopped by the liquid products booth, standing on cases, stuff like that.
Yeah, I did hear that. Lakewood Tough Challenge. So if you ever get a chance to go and do that, I would definitely urge you to.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of April Fool's Day, I almost was going to start this by saying, like, hey, with cold temperatures recently, like, we found ice again. But I'm kidding. That's not the case. And even this weekend, it looks like some really great weather coming. And the walleye run previously, it's still going on in different places, different rivers here in Wisconsin, but did kind of slow down a little bit with the cold temperatures. So again, nice weather this weekend and rain next week. Looks like some great spring fishing to come.
Yeah, we've heard a little bit of mixed reviews about on the wolf system of different species starting to get caught: smallmouth, catfish, crappies, perch, all kinds of stuff. So spring's coming.
Spring is coming. Yeah, that is for sure. So with that, we are here tonight with a really fun guest.
And our buddy.
Yeah. Ben, so let's bring him in.
Hey, Ben.
Hi, guys. Thank you. That is very nice.
Well, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Ben Fittante. I work at Fittante Taxidermy and Fish Replicas. I work for my dad. I grew up around this my entire life. He's been in this business for almost 50 years now. And I went to school and everything. And at that point in time, I couldn't really find a job after I graduated, and kind of talked to my dad one day and said, hey, how would you feel if I came back and started working for you? And it started as part-time, where I drove home on Sunday nights after I got done working in the bar. And I would work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, half a day Thursday, head back to Oshkosh and 10 bar Thursday night, and do it all over again, and really found out I love it.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. So, I am looking at everything on the wall behind you. And we are talking here replicas. So we thought that was kind of a really fun connection to April Fool's Day, because looking at all those fish, you could never tell that it wasn't, the actual fish that came out of the water.
It's a beautiful thing. I can tell you that my dad has done a single tiger muskie for 5 different guys. And the beauty of catch and release, had the first gentleman decided to keep that fish, or, for whatever reason it died, the other 4 would never have got to enjoy it. So, it's a cool thing. We're getting bigger fish every year, seeing more those 57, 58 pluses coming in. Not every day, mind you, but I think that there's a good chance that Louis Spray's record might be knocked out, in the next, say, 10 years or so. There's some great fisheries out there.
That's awesome.
Well, and what a cool position for you to be in, to be able to see big fish come in. We all see pictures online, and, you can only tell so much with perspective. But, when you have measurements, when you have pictures like that, that's just really amazing.
It is a cool thing, but as a angler myself, I will say it kind of pokes at me a little bit when, because you always like to ask, it's not that we advertise like, oh, this guy got this big fish on such and such, but oftentimes we can either look at a person's photo and say, oh, you caught that on the Bay of Green Bay, or say, a more local lake, wherever. But we always ask, like, oh, where did you get that? 99% for conversation, but also, every lake has a strain of fish, and they kind of look a certain way. So we can make notes about that. And I lost my train of thought.
No, that's okay. Because that's one of the things that I was actually thinking all about your work, is that it is truly custom pieces. So, you were talking about one guy who had a few different tiger muskies, but, that's the beauty about even being a buyer of a replica, is that you're not just going to get the same stencil pattern over and over and over.
Oh, yeah. So I'll take you through the process a little bit. Like when you place an order for, whether it be a 12-inch perch or a 50-inch muskie, pike, whatever. So we'll, pick your brain a little bit, how long was it? Because most folks have an idea, like it was X amount of inches. 85% of the orders we take don't have girth measurements. It's awesome to get because, you know, if you can say your fish was, you know, say on a muskie, like 25 inches around is a really big, that's a healthy fish, you know, at a 50-inch class. We can build that replica. Not only will it be measure 50 inches, but it'll be the girth measurement. I mean, it's nice, but my dad is really great also from, you know, his years of experience at looking at fish and going, all right, yeah, and saying, you know, okay, you want it with the head right or left or whatever kind of pose, because there's so many options. As you can see behind me, they go up, down, left, right, whatever your heart desires. And, you know, we'll pick out a mold that best represents your fish, and we can add a little bit on, you know, girth it out or even skinny it up, a little bit of length here and there. Otherwise, we have so many different options in molds.
Can I ask you a question there? I don't mean to stop you, but that's really interesting to me because, you know, I really don't know very much about replicas or molds and all of that. But I do know that, you know, out existing in the world, you can buy just like the blank fish, you know, online. You could do it like at home. You could paint it yourself with whatever paint you have at your house. You know, that's fun. But so that's what you're saying is that you guys don't necessarily just even buy a blank somewhere.
Oh,
that's something that you are custom making.
Yeah, we build them all in-house, and that's what gives us that ability when somebody says, I've got a 49 3/4, you're going to get a 49 3/4 inch fish. There's some mold makers out there, and some of them are pretty good, and there's some that are, you know, are better and worse in either direction. I mean, the replica thing is reasonably new to freshwater within the last 20 years. Saltwater, it's been around for a long time because those saltwater skin mounts don't necessarily hold up as well. But what's neat in making our own molds in-house is we can build a fish to that specification, where the mold makers, some of the other companies, they're not to that half-inch, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah. So like if you caught, you know, an 11 point whatever size perch, let's say, you know, and then all of a sudden you bring it in, but like the closest mold is like a 12-inch, you know, so it's kind of cool. You could brag like an extra half-inch or whatever, but you know, to be able to have those true measurements are really, really fun.
Yeah, no, it's outstanding. My dad had the foresight to start molding fish 20 years ago. And because of that, now we have just so many molds. I don't even know how many. There's just, and they all have a weird name. You know, so you'd be like, oh, I think the Hulbert, a mold named after a guy, Mike Hulbert, because we made that one for a fish for him, and now it's very popular. You know, or oh, we need the no fin mold or the new no fin mold. It's just all these goofy names, the big tail. And
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I guess that does bring me to a question. Do you do skin mounts if somebody is dead set on that?
You bet. You know, so we still do a fair amount of like panfish and such for skin mounts, walleyes, bass, stuff of that nature. A few muskies every year. Sometimes somebody has it. If they get a big enough fish, they have a benchmark in their head that they want to keep it and they want that actual fish. And I understand that. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, the nice thing though is we can mold those skin mounts if it's something that that we don't necessarily have. We can talk to the gentleman. So that way, even though, you know, and a lot of fish die too. I mean, sucker rigs and so on and so forth. If it's hot, things happen. I understand. But so we can also make a mold of that fish. And that way, even though the fish died, there's so many more people that can enjoy it than the one person.
Yeah, that's a really cool point. The other thing is, let's talk for a minute. Is there like a difference in longevity or quality for a skin mount versus a replica?
A replica, I can tell you, I'll show you one here in a little bit. He's about 17 years old. I remember building it, and it's been around the Midwest at every show we've been doing since it was made. It still looks like the day that we finished it. The skin mounts that we're doing today, I honest to God can't say, like, in my personal opinion, think they're going to look today. They're going to look as good as they do today. And
oh no. So that's okay. But
yeah.
he mentioned having all those mounts at the shows, and we personally have. Well, we visit his booth at every show that he attends.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, in my opinion, you know, we look at a lot of crappies, and the Fittante's work is probably some of the best crappie work and some of the best bluegill work that I've ever seen as far as like my affiliation with panfish.
Well, and you know what's amazing, and it's very hard to tell on a screen, so I do hope that you can bump into them at a show or their shop sometime. But you cannot tell the difference between a replica and not. So it's really, really amazing, you know, the detail that goes into, you know, their scales. You know, it's not just like a flat fish there. So that's really, really a very cool thing.
Well, and he mentioned a little bit, right when he. No, it's okay. It's okay. We were just talking.
I had my phone sitting here, so.
We were just talking about how you were talking about the different strains of fish having similar things out of different lakes, and one thing that I can think of is like Lake Ogibic. Like the perch there are very unique in how they look. So
in like Lake Ogibic versus like Mississippi River perch or Devil's Lake perch, it's pretty neat, you know. And I'm in a very special where I see those there, you know, and you can see those subtle colors. They're a lot more yellow. The barring maybe put up on them more. It's a neat deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, we were even talking about, you know, the details that go into the paintwork. So when you have a replica, you know, it's not that you don't have scale detail, you know, you still have all that beautiful work there.
Yeah, you betcha. Inside of the mouths, the gills, scale detail, outstanding. And, you know, going back to the molding process, as technology, you know, trickles down to us, like the molds that we can make today will pull everything out of them. Like when I make new molds, I even inscribe my name somewhere in it, you know, and then that mold will pull that out, like just the little subtleties and whatnot. So then I can always look back and have a little giggle over it.
That's awesome.
That is actually really awesome. And kind of, you know, the mark of real art, because you think about it, the story behind the catch and, you know, what that fish itself means, but it also really becomes an art piece. And so that's kind of really, really excellent.
Yeah, it's so cool. My dad, I can't take any credit for that. I do all of our building. You know, I get them from a gentleman that works for us, and he makes the blanks. So, and they're just coming out of the mold, and I get them and I put them together and, you know, shape the fins and all that and get them all the way ready, prime them, and then my dad gets them, and he's got a big screen in his paint room where he'll put your pictures on a USB drive and plug it in his paint room, and then he goes through and freehands that in with like 7 colors.
Wow,
that's really amazing.
It's hard to explain like how lucky I am to be able to, you know, because people have come in and watched him, you know, like, you know, buddies will stop by and they're like, wow, Joel, that's really impressive. Now growing up watching that, I'm just like, oh yeah, you know, but it's some serious artwork.
Yeah, for sure.
So one of the things that I am anxious about is, you know, you were kind of talking about showing us a few things. So what do you have to show off?
Well, what would you like to see? Not everybody knows. I mean, a lot of folks think that we just do fish replicas, but, you know, so we can kind of check out this wall here a little closer. Some barracuda and some trout. That is late water, you know, our cold water bluegill. When they kind of lose out, their colors all dull out.
Those, yeah, look at that.
I mean, can you see the scale detail on there?
Yeah, you can.
This would be a cool piece.
Oh my goodness.
And once again, being a full taxidermy, I mean, there's, let's see.
Yeah, that catfish is awesome.
Yeah. This is a skin mount walleye right here.
Beautiful.
Yeah, you can't even tell the difference. This is that tiger muskie I was talking about, that he's been all around. There we go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, you cannot tell that it is as old as it is.
No.
No, I mean, but getting back to that, the skin mounts that we're producing today, I really do believe, I mean, because 99% of them, unless somebody really objects to it, will make a mold of the head, that we're pretty good at that molding process. So we can make a mold of your fish's head. And when you look at those old ones, a lot of times they'll have that brown or, kind of oil that leaks primarily out of the head. So with the skin mounts that we're producing today, that the head is made out of fiberglass. So there's quite a rigorous cleaning process.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dirty job. I wanted to get micro in here, but my dad objected. So, but it comes out, I mean, as clean as can be. So I really believe that they'll last just as long, but going back, we've got life-size deer.
Oh, that bear.
Yeah. Oh, that one's cool. I've got another one in the back that I'm working on right now. It's a little over 500 pounds.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah. This bear here was high force. The dandy. But yeah, I mean, if you're ever driving by and we're open, stop in. It's worth it just to take a look because there is so much stuff here.
Yeah, and well, you're in a great place too. You're right on the north side of Antigo there, right off the highway. It's easy to stop in, and it's easy to see your open sign too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Emily and I are always up there fishing, so we're passing you early and passing you late. So one of these times we'll make a point to stop and have some dinner with you.
That would be awesome.
Okay, so I do have a few more questions though. So as far as the skin mounts, if somebody has a fish that they want to bring you in the best possible condition, how do you recommend that fish makes its way to you?
The best way that I've seen is to take a towel. You don't want to use one of your wife's new towels because you're not going to want it back. Wrap the fish in it with its fins laying down. The tail's fine. Just, you don't have to stretch it out. Just lay it in there naturally. Roll it up in the towel. Get the towel wet. It doesn't have to be sopping wet, just fairly damp. And put it in a plastic bag and freeze it. And if you're coming by, say, after our hours or on a Sunday and no one's around, we've got a freezer out on our front porch. You can put it in there and put a tag with your name on it. Give you a call on Monday.
That's awesome.
That is actually a really, really great idea. Just a testament to great customer service, I guess. I would have never thought about that. I was going to make a joke about if you were going to drop something off, make sure it's winter. But you don't have to do that.
No, it happens quite often, and that's why we came up with the freezer on the front porch.
That's awesome. And then I guess if you are the kind of person who is going for a replica, like if you know that ahead of time you have the fish in your hand still, you didn't let it go, is there specific picture angles? Is there a video? Like what is most helpful for the artist?
A good side profile picture, and even on a skin mount, because as you guys know, when you catch, say, a nice bull bluegill, and he's just brilliant with that orange and whatever colors he's got going on, as soon as that fish dies or it's in the bucket for 10 minutes, that as soon as they die, their color really dulls down. Or I've seen plenty of bluegills that have come in still alive in a bucket, and they naturally change colors to match. They lighten up a lot. So even if you want to do a skin mount, just a good side profile picture is outstanding. Hands down the best way.
That's really awesome. Actually, it's a little bit inspiring to me because, there's a few fish that I've caught that I've looked back and I'm like, man, maybe I really should have. But that's really great because you always could go back.
What's that?
It's really great because then you always could go back, from your pictures, from your memories, you don't have to have that fish anymore.
Yeah. The oldest one that I can remember in my time is a guy caught in 1985. When he was a young kid. It was a big pike, and at that point in time, he didn't have any money to do it, so he ate it, and he had always bummed about it. And later in life, he's like, "Oh, you get to do a replica," and he had an old Polaroid, and so it's like, right on, man.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. That is really cool. Oh my gosh. And I also love what you were saying earlier about, you were taking your fish back and forth to the shows, you know. So that's really nice for me because, like, if we were to get a fish, we put it up, but then God forbid we ever had to move somewhere, you know, the portability is really nice to know that your fish will make it to wherever you want it to be.
Yeah, and you know what? If something ever does happen, we can always fix it.
That's actually a really great. That's what do you do? Just bring in your bring your pieces with.
So we typically, like, you know, on older skin mounts, in that case, we try to only fix our stuff because sometimes it can be a can of worms. Where someone brings in a 50-year-old skin mount and says, I want it to look like that. It's done by a guy out of his garage kind of deal, you know. But anything that, you know, we did, or you can always check with us, is email some pictures. We'll let you know if it's something that we can work with. But yeah, we can replace the fins or put the head back on, whatever may have happened.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah.
And then as far as people getting their mounts back, you know, it's easy to share information from wherever you're at. Then is that something that you put in the mail? Do you need to meet somewhere? How does that go about?
Well, as far as getting them back, it used to be that everything, you know, came in and out of our front door. And nowadays I would say 75% of the fish are shipped. I mean, I sent one to Great Britain about a month ago. And I just had a gentleman order a monster pike from, I think Germany.
Whoa, that's cool.
Huge pike over there. They're like the muskies here. They're just slobs, and they're marked different too. They're pretty cool looking.
Very cool.
Oh my gosh, I won't even ask what shipping on something like that is.
Yeah. When you got to go across the pond,
yeah. Oh gosh, I'll just swim it there. Okay, no.
Well, yeah. So if let's say that you're in Illinois, I mean, you could always make a point to drive up here, and some guys do. I've had gentlemen drive from Ontario to come down here because they just, you know, like they wanted to take a 2-day trip. And then the next guy will say, you know what, I'm in Eau Claire, I'm super busy for the cost to ship there. It's not worth it when you figure, you know, your time, gas, you know, all that stuff. But nowadays it is so much more of the shipping aspect of things. And we've got specialty boxes we have made, and then they get some heavy duty braces. So I could basically stand on the box and
Wow.
get in there right tight. And we don't have too many issues. It does happen, but not very often. And if it does happen, we insure them. We'll get them back. We'll fix them up and send them again.
Nice.
That is really awesome. And you know, that's the thing about it is people have seen online and hopefully not in person, but maybe that there are just some mounts out there that really don't cut it. I don't know. I'm not trying to put down anybody's artwork, but you know, that's the thing. You're talking about shipping them different places and everything. But when you do have good quality work, when it's something that people know they can depend on, there's nothing better than peace of mind.
Yeah, and if someone was ever unhappy, we'll take care of it. You know, you never want that at the end of the day when you're thinking about your day, and you know, if someone said, hey, you know what, this is wrong, or I felt like my fish was a little bit lighter, we oftentimes will send pictures of them before we put our final clear coat on them, just for the thumbs up, or hey, can you darken this up, or whatever. Hey, you know what, it had a scar, can you put that back in? I love when people want the splits and the scars, because that's all they are. They're not all perfect. And sometimes you see a fish that is absolutely clean, and the next one is like, you know, whether it was right after spawning or it's just an old beast.
Mm-hmm.
And those all tell a story, and it's part of the catch. So that's really super cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So for people who, you know, haven't checked you out on social media before, how do they do that?
Well, you can check out our website. It's Fittante Taxidermy and Fish Replicas, or our Facebook page, same thing. You can reach out to us on email, it's joefittante@gmail.com, and Fittante is Fittante, if you're curious. Or you can just give us a call.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll put a link to the website in the comments here.
And then for people who are going to swing by, can you remind us your location and when you're open?
So we're just north of Antigo. We're 3 miles north of Fleet Farm in the small town of Antigo. That is one of the biggest landmarks. We're on the west-hand side of the road on Highway 45. So we're 45 minutes south of Rylander, 45 minutes northeast of Wausau.
That's awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Potato country here. It's awesome.
Well, I know that at some point I'm definitely going to come and check out the replicas. And if I can't make it down by you, then hopefully one of these years we'll bump into you at the expos again.
Well, hopefully next year we're back. I can say it's a bummer not getting to see everybody. It's nice because there's a lot of stress that goes into getting ready for those and then going through it. It's a lot. So it was nice not to have that. And it sucked just not seeing everyone and catching, hearing about your winter. How was your fishing season, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we will connect again, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for thinking of me and allowing me this opportunity. It warms my heart.
All right, and we'll talk to you later. Well, that was fun.
That was a lot of fun. It just really is amazing when you go to the different shows and expos and you see the different replicas that are up there, and you really cannot tell that it is. No, I was going to say it's not a real fish, but it was a real fish at one point that was kind of brought back to life. So
yeah, and it's really cool. Like you said, if you've never seen an old mount, like they do kind of get like a film on them, and to be able to like mold a real fish and then be able to put like your skin mount and stuff together, it's really awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys have any questions, I am betting that they would be able to answer them. So
absolutely.
Ben and his crew are all really friendly. Actually, I called the shop on accident the other day instead of Ben, and the guy had a really good laugh on the phone. So, I can tell you that they're all really friendly, good-natured people there. So whatever questions you have, I'm sure they could walk you through all of it.
Absolutely. So check out the website in the comments, and have a good night.
Yeah, thanks again for being here, and we will see you next week on the Night Bite.
Bye, everybody.